check it out. 2001 Ford Taurus. I'm going to show you kind of a common problem that I've seen with multiple, anywhere from 99 to 2003 Ford Tauruses. Okay, this is an air conditioning concern. Your air conditioning works, it's still blowing cold, but for some reason you cannot get it off of defrost and or any other selection in on the dash. Now this is very specific to the AC control modules that are the knob style, not so much the auto with the digital touch, okay? A quick overview of the most common problem and reason why this happens underneath the hood in the engine compartment. So as you can see here, this is a vacuum line connector. Now this vacuum line connector is disconnected right now from the main supply line coming from over on the driver's side. So now looking back passenger side, connecting, you see right there at the bottom I've got a broken hose. Now generally that hose is laying in your engine bay if you're lucky, and you can kind of get a general idea of the size of hose that you need. If you can find this hose, this gives you a really good idea where you can locate the end of it, okay? So you would stick it back on the connecting and just kind of get a general direction of where it's headed. From there you'll find, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little black hose way down there. Now that's where that goes, so we're gonna have to reconnect it. First thing you're gonna need to do to get to this is pull off the cowl, okay? You can only pull off the passenger side for this. That's the easiest way to do this. There's gonna be one, I believe it's a 6mm here on the side, and then you're gonna have some clips similar to these clips here that are going to clamp it on to the cowl. So once we've removed those clips and that screw, this is gonna pop up. It's gonna be a little bit difficult, but it's gonna come out. Now once you've gotten under there, you're gonna wanna take off more of those same screws. It's a great time to change your cabin air filter. Your cabin air filter is usually in there and filthy from years of debris. All right, so once you got those two screws loose, the cowl comes out. Now we've got a little more direct access to the pipe that we've got to reconnect to. So now this is the grommet that's going to mount inside the firewall, and if you kind of wiggle this and pull it back, you can get it out of the firewall so that you can expose the vacuum line itself, that little thin line there, and we can put a coupler over top of it and slide them back in together, and that should give us the vacuum to the actuators that we need. So once this grommet comes out, my recommendation to make this easier of a repair is go ahead, flip this guy over, and cut them back to about here so that your repairs can tuck back into the firewall and be nice and secure. Okay, so from here now, you're gonna slide on your grommet to get it back into the firewall and hold it steadily in place, and get yourself some nice tube of any kind really. As long as it's heat resistant, it'll be okay for a long period of time. Slide it over the old. I recommend using some zip ties just to make sure you can secure it in place. So put the zip ties on, connect then the open end to the vacuum T-line, and you're good to go from here, okay? You're gonna zip tie that on, and I'll do that real quick. I'll bring you back and show you the rest. So now you can see I got it tucked back in down there. I've got it plugged into the connector right here. And when I removed this, I noticed that my hose had a nice crack along the edge. So all I'm gonna do for this now is get a bigger piece of hose, put it over top of that, kind of like, excuse the reference, a condom. And that's just gonna seal in that vacuum to that tight connection there. So right now when we're plugging it in, we're losing some vacuum because the hose is cracked along the edge further back. So it's cracked to here. That's gonna allow for that vacuum to escape, causing us some vacuum issues. So what I'm gonna do, like I said, is just slide a condom on a little bit further, so a little bit bigger, just so it's snug, and that vacuum will remain within that line. Find a hose that's diameter a little equally snug over this pipe. Go ahead and lube this up heavily so that this makes this easier, and you're just gonna slide it over the pipe onto there. You can cut it to fit, so wherever your crack may stop, like for instance, my crack stops right about here, so I'm only gonna cut it back to about here, and that gives me the overhang I need to keep that vacuum inside this connection. So once you're finished, it's gonna look something like this, and we're just gonna go ahead and attach that back to the T now, just as usual. It may be a little snug than usual because this hose over top of it is a little bit tighter. So once it's all connected, it's gonna kind of hang like this until we put our cowl back on. And then this clamp holds the cowl in place, but also holds that vacuum line in place. So while you're here, guys, you've got the cowl off, inspect all of your vacuum lines that run into the firewall. Make sure that they're all good to go. If they're not, you can create some fixes here. Add some hose where you may need to replace it. Just remember to always zip tie these hoses, because man, this can lead to such a devastating day of diagnosis if you're not careful. Okay, so this one was a little bit more of a pain in the butt than usual, considering snaking its way in the wrong direction. So I had to pull the airbag out here, which is real simple. You pull the glove box down, you get a couple of bolts, 8mm underneath there. Make sure before you do any of that, please, please, please disconnect your negative battery terminal, okay? You really don't want to have any kind of fun like that. But so for this, I have the vacuum line exposed again. I'm gonna snake it down underneath the dash to where it needs to go, and I will show you that in a second here. So I'm gonna try to do this the best I can. I know it's not gonna stay in focus too well, but here we were missing this black vacuum line, and you can see that it's pulled out from where it's supposed to be connected right here. If it reaches like this one, you just go ahead and slide it back in. All right, now once you slid it back in, this is gonna give you the vacuum control to shift from defrost and cold AC coming out of the vents. So look, it can be a little bit more of a problem, but in this case, it was, and we repaired it. No big deal. All right, so now we've got full controls. I can change it through all of the cycles. And as I do that, it shifts from each zone that I need it to equally. And it'll also change the blend door to go hot and cold. AC, back to action. Blowing from the vents. If your AC is still blowing cold, but you can't get it to blow from your vents, and you've got the knob style system, there's about a 99% chance that what's stopping that airflow from coming out of the vents are a vacuum line severed and has a major leak. So do your due diligence, do some quick, keeping it simple exercises, chasing vacuum leaks, and you'll be right back in action. So take care, guys. It's been J Rod's Customs, teaching you how, showing you how, but more importantly, being there for you when you do need the help. Look, if you have any more questions about your automotive needs, tune into my channel, and I'll do anything I can to help you guys learn more about these vehicles and create some passions, because that's what this is all about for me. Passion. Enjoy this, guys.